I'm joined now by GBNews' home and security editor, Mark White. Mark, look, I'm a free speech fundamentalist. Of course, I thought that protest yesterday was unsavoury. I haven't thought any of the protests have been particularly well judged. However, I don't think it's right that these people are being arrested. We do have to be able to have a democratic debate in this country. Now, I believe you've got breaking news on this.
Yeah, I think in part prompted by that incident in Edinburgh and another number of small protests, Scotland Yard have issued a statement tonight in which they are saying, we know there are some people who want to protest on a range of issues, even at this time of national mourning. It goes on to say that people have a right to freedom of expression, exactly as you say, Dan, and we must balance the rights of protesters with those of others who wish to grieve and reflect. So I think Scotland Yard is really trying to emphasise that they will, as much as they can, try to allow for legitimate protest. The difficulty we have, though, is that there is a massive security issue here, big security concerns as we lead up to the state funeral, in which many world leaders will be here. It is a time when the security services know there is a potential for people to try to make a statement in a way that is much more destructive. So they have to balance that out.
Well, indeed, because I think, Mark, there has to be a very different line taken on the eco-terrorists, for example, of the Extinction Rebellion, some of whom we know are planning to disrupt the Queen's funeral route. Now, to me, that would be criminal damage. It's very different to a peaceful protest by a Republican.
Yeah, I think if you get to direct action, you're really sort of crossing over into an area where you can expect to find that you're going to be dragged away. Some people have done that already, that have tried to jump in front of, just the other day in the Mall just behind us there, as the King's motorcade was about to head off to Clarence House, someone jumped into the Mall, was tackled and taken away. Understandably, because what we've seen in the past, people that actually want to enact some level of violence, it starts with shouting and screaming, and you think, okay, it's a noisy protest, and it develops into something else. So you can understand why the police will be on edge, will be on alert.
It's a very fine line, but when it is a sole individual not making any real noise or breaking the law in any way, I think they do have a right to protest. However, what I would say, Mark, is people should be warned, because this is a funeral. A lot of us are feeling grief. And if in that procession there are idiots who decide to make a huge song and dance and protest, you're going to expect to be tackled, probably to the ground, quite forcefully by the great British public. And that's the risk that you take.
Well, interestingly, the incident in Edinburgh, that's exactly what happened. A member of public grabbed him effectively by the scruff of the neck, and you could see him just being hauled backwards. So, yes, you're right. People are not going to react well to this. I think the difference with Edinburgh, where it is an issue that really crosses into the rights of freedom of speech, is that, okay, you can take someone away who's causing a disturbance, potentially a threat, but then to charge them afterwards, you are making a judgment call as a police service and as prosecutors that actually someone who, however distasteful it might be, is expressing their freedom of speech.
This isn't North Korea. This isn't China. You are a scumbag if you want to disrupt the Queen's funeral. I don't think you're a criminal. And that's where our police have to be very careful over the next few days.
100%.
And actually, all it ends up doing, Mark, is turning people to the Republican cause anyway, because as a country, this isn't a big debate. It's a very small minority of people. Have your protest, but I would say just be respectful to the people who are genuinely mourning, because we are genuinely mourning as a country, and you would not interrupt someone's relative's funeral, would you?
No, without a doubt. And I mean, it was absolutely distasteful and appalling that someone should shout as the body of the late monarch passes. supported and followed by their bereaved children and our bereaved children.
I know.
But
Terrible.
as you say, they
You're a
have a
scumbag,
right.
but you're not a criminal.
You have a
Yeah.
right to be a scumbag.
Yeah. And of course, the Queen absolutely believed
Yeah, of course she did,
in the
yes.
right to this form of protest. She believes that she believed that Republicans have a right to express their view.
Yep.
And we are Britain. We are a great democracy. And so I think the police have been very heavy-handed over the past couple of days. And I say this obviously as one of the biggest royalists in
We
this
fought world wars to defend
Indeed.
that. We're very right.
Indeed. Well, Mark White, thank you for that breaking news tonight. Our home